Hello, and welcome all to the 10th part of the series on self exploration. Joining the dots, contemplating, comprehending, and sharing it with you all raw. All that sounds great is the grace of all those who have blessed me. And all that sounds not so great is my limitation. So let's get going. Cycle and beyond the cycle. From ease of the beginning of a cycle to the ease of the end of a cycle. We all know that the universe is cyclic. It started from a curved movement, and matter is curvature. When we talk of a cycle, it is like a circle, isn't it? We start from a point and we arrive at the same point after a definite time, and we keep taking rounds. Whether it be the wheel of a bicycle or whether it be the course of life. A very different perspective, rather vision, came to me about cycles. We keep arriving at the same point if we stay in the same plane. With every round, if we change the plane, either we go in the plane above the reference plane or the plane below the reference plane, we will go in spirals like a spring or like a coil, and moreover, if we also reduce the radius as we change planes, so if we go in a conical movement like a spiral cone, two things will happen. It will keep raising us or it will keep sinking us to the base. Depends on whether we are going upward or downward from the reference plane. It will also shorten our journey on the circular path as we go on reducing the radius, to an extent that at one point it will only be a point, the tip, and it will be very, very high from where we started as a big round. So it won't be a cycle over there. The cyclic moment will stop. In reaching that point, we may transcend many levels. If we think of our worldly journey in such spiral cones, going cyclic but every time reducing our radius, then we may transcend many levels of conscience, many levels of the worldly and conscious understanding. Those who believe in the concept of Shat Chakras, this can be called as the journey from the Mooladhara Chakra, the root chakra, to the Brahmarandra or the Sahasrara Chakra, where it is just a point of existence. I also happen to read and learn about our divine geometrical pattern, the Shri Yantra, which also talks of starting from the outer layers to the inner layer, which is a point in the end. So this spiral cone sounded to me like a module of the Shat Chakras also and the Shri Yantra also, in a very typical form, which goes as a pyramid, conical pyramid. There is another way of thinking over this. When I place myself on the same plane as that of a circle, I will have a big circumference to travel, and I will come back at the same point. It will need a lot of time. This is when I will place myself at the base or at the reference circle. But if I place myself at the pinnacle, the uppermost or the lowermost, or even higher than that, then that circle looks like a dot to me. Either I am standing on that dot, on that tip. So where to go? There will be no traveling over there. There is no time needed to travel around that dot. In one of the books, the author explains the space-time crunch as a crunched football ground, where he explains all dots get joined and the space crunches into time, and at that time it becomes all now. There is no past, no present, no future, so no cycles. Everything seems to be happening now. When we rise high above, when we get a bird's eye view, there are no cycles. Everything is now. So is the concept of cycles wrong or right? It all depends on which plane we see ourselves. On lower planes or on middle planes, they may seem right. Cyclic patterns repeating in stipulated time, the effect of planets, everything is correct under the level of planets, under the level of existence of planets in the universe. But if I place myself, or if my plane of understanding and existence is above the level of planets, I will see the planets from top. This is an abstract thought, but those who appreciate it, when I see the planets from top, I don't come under them, so they don't affect me. They may still affect my material existence as a body. Let it affect. How does that affect me? At this level of maturity, the parable of "is that so" becomes very true. A priest in a small village, was so easy with things that he was once arrested for having stolen some jewelry at the local temple. He said, "Is that so? Have I stolen?" He was carried to the court of the king, imprisoned, and then given a death sentence. He said, "Is that so?" When he was being carried at the sight of death, the real thief was caught, and then he was released. The priest was released. He said, "Is that so?" That is the level of ease one gets when one places himself high above the cycles. All these layers in the whole picture of appearance can be seen from the point of being, from Vyaktatva to Astitva. Spiritual journey is always in cycles. When you are transcending in your spiritual maturity, this was a very beautiful thought I picked up from somewhere, that you always reach some point and you seem to fall back to the worldly norms, to the worldly feelings, and you tell yourself, "What is this? At times I am in such a divine feeling. Why am I coming back to all these material things? Why are all these things adhering to me again?" But this is said to be quite usual, quite common. You reach a height and then you again fall back, you again reach a height, you fall back. But how do you identify that you are evolving? When you fall back, you don't fall back to the level you went down the earlier time. So these are cyclic but elevating movements. So if I was falling back on the point 0 some time ago, maybe now I rise up, I fall back, but I fall back to level 10. I again rise up and I fall back, but maybe to level 20. So even if I'm falling back, I'm rising above my initial or former levels. So I'm spiraling, still I'm elevating. That tells us that we are still growing. It is a cycle of 4 stages or 4 combinations. We start with ease and we end up with ease. Initially, we don't know what we don't know. There are so many things in the world that exist, but we don't know that they exist. So are we easy about them? Yes. I don't know what I don't know, so I am easy. At some point, we come to know that there is such a thing in the world, but I don't know it. So the next level is, I know that I don't know. First, I did not know what I don't know, so I was very easy. Now I come to know that I don't know this. That makes me uneasy. Oh, this is something I need to know. There's something I don't know. Something I don't know. So that develops a feeling of not so easy. Then I strive to know it and I get to know it. So I know what I know now. There was a point when I didn't know that this existed. Then came a point where I knew that I don't know. Then I learned it, and then came a point when I knew what I know. And then that knowing becomes so easy that sometimes we don't even know that we know it. Like someone asks us how to make this recipe, and we just say it that yeah, you take these ingredients, you do this, and it will get ready. Oh, I knew this, really. I'd forgotten that I know it. Someone asked me, and that triggered my knowledge of that particular thing. But I'm easy because I'm not aware of it that I know it. So we go from a cycle of complete ignorance, which can be called the earlier shore. There is ease in that. And from that shore, we travel to the other shore where we don't know that we know something. We are easy over there, but we are full of knowledge. And we were also easy on the other shore, but we were ignorant. So when we go in cycles, we travel from ease of not knowing to ease of knowing. That is transcendence. So cyclic, yes, but in this cyclic journey, if we try to make our path conical, we will reach a point where we will wonder, looking back at ourselves, and we'll say, was that so? Stay tuned for some more such self-explorations.